You are watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Lansing in Michigan, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. Pope Francis has offered his condolences and prayers upon the death of Queen Elizabeth, Britain's longest reigning monarch, who died on Thursday. She was 96 years old. In a telegram to her son, King Charles III, who is Britain's new monarch, the Holy Father said he willingly joined all who mourn her in praying for the late Queen's eternal rest. He also paid tribute to her life of unstinting service, her example of devotion to duty, her steadfast witness to faith in Jesus Christ, and her firm hope in his promises. Ascending to the British throne in 1952, Queen Elizabeth met 5 different popes during her lifetime. When she visited Pope Francis at the Vatican in April 2014, the Queen gave the pontiff a gift basket that was filled with food and produce from the royal estates, including a bottle of single malt whisky from the Balmoral estate in North East Scotland. It was there Her Majesty died on Thursday. The 2014 meeting between Elizabeth and Francis marked the 100th anniversary of the re-establishment of diplomatic relations between the United Kingdom and the Holy See. Meanwhile, church leaders across Britain have also offered condolences and prayers upon the death of the Queen. Cardinal Vincent Nichols of Westminster, who is president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of England and Wales, said, "At this time we pray for the repose of the soul of Her Majesty," adding that we do so with confidence because the Christian faith marked every day of her life and activity. Meanwhile, Bishop Hugh Gilbert of Aberdeen, president of the Bishops' Conference of Scotland, said the Queen's determination to remain active to the end of her long life had been an example of Christian leadership, which demonstrated her great stoicism and commitment to duty, and was undoubtedly a source of stability and continuity in times of great change. Plans for the Queen's funeral are expected to be confirmed in coming days. Because she died in Scotland, her coffin will first lie at rest at St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh. The coffin will then be flown to London, where people will be allowed to file past over a period of 4 days, lying in state at Westminster Hall. The Queen's coffin will be draped in the Royal Standard, and once in Westminster Hall, it will be topped with the Imperial State Crown, orb and sceptre. The Queen's state funeral is expected to take place at Westminster Abbey in less than 2 weeks. The exact date is yet to be confirmed by Buckingham Palace. The Anglican service will likely be conducted by the Dean of Westminster, David Hoyle, with the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, giving the sermon. Following the funeral service, the Queen's coffin will then make its final journey to the Royal Vault at St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. In other news, an Italian nun who was killed in Mozambique by Islamist jihadists is being hailed as a martyr of the faith. 83-year-old Sister Maria de Coppi, who belonged to the Comboni missionaries, was shot dead in her mission station in the north of the African country by members of the Islamic State on September the 6th. She had worked in Mozambique for more than 39 years. The insurgents also killed 4 others. Now, Archbishop Inácio Soares of Nampula has told the Agência Fides news agency that Sister Maria was a martyr for the faith. According to the BBC, Islamic State claimed they killed Sister Maria because she was too committed to spreading the Christian faith. The Muslim militants also torched her mission station and the local school. In the US, the Michigan Supreme Court has ruled that a proposal to amend the state constitution to include a so-called right to abortion will be placed on the ballot on November's elections. There had been some legal dispute as to whether the ballot initiative would be given the green light after the wording of the proposed amendment was found to contain numerous typos. On Thursday, however, the 7 justices of the Supreme Court ruled 5-2 that the vote should go ahead. The proposal, known as the Reproductive Freedom for All Amendment, seeks to legalise abortion up to the day of birth, including partial birth abortion, across Michigan. It also threatens to strike down various existing state laws, including parental consent and notification laws for minors seeking an abortion. The ballot will take place on November the 8th. Meanwhile, senators in South Carolina have rejected a motion calling for human life to be respected in law from conception after 5 members of the ruling Republican Party refused to support the measure. In a special session of the chamber on Thursday, the Senate did back the state's present 6-week time limit for most abortions. They also voted to cut the time limit that victims of rape and incest who become pregnant can seek an abortion from 20 weeks to about 12 weeks. Once the legislation goes through both the State Senate and House of Representatives, it will then go to the Republican Governor Henry McMaster for final approval before becoming law. Elsewhere in the US, an abortion clinic outside Washington, D.C. is preparing to open its doors to women seeking abortions into the third trimester of pregnancy. The clinic, which is called Partners in Abortion Care, is located in College Park, Maryland. It aims to offer abortions up to 34 weeks of pregnancy, that's just 6 weeks before birth, beginning this fall. 34 weeks is considered roughly 10 weeks past the point of viability, when a baby can survive outside the womb. The clinic owners say they want to become a national hub for late-term abortions as other states enact pro-life laws. In a press release, the campaign group Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America noted that some 90% of Americans reject late-term abortion. They also point out that at 34 weeks, unborn children are able to recognise familiar songs and stories and prefer looking towards faces. Thus, they say there is no question that such unborn babies are human. The bishops of Paraguay have decried the death of a journalist in what is thought to be a contract killing sponsored by organised crime. 33-year-old Humberto Coronel was shot 8 times by a man on a motorcycle as he left Amambi Radio, where he worked in the northern city of Pedro Juan Caballero. The city, which is on the border with Brazil, is one of the most dangerous in Paraguay, in large part due to the drug trafficking between the two South American countries. Mr. Coronel's attacker has been described as a hitman by Paraguay's Office of the Attorney General. In a statement, the country's bishop said that the state must guarantee and protect the right to freedom of expression. In recent years, some 20 journalists have been killed in Paraguay for attempting to expose corruption and drug trafficking. The bishops of the United States are urging all nations to work towards progress in nuclear disarmament. In a statement, Bishop David Malloy of Rockford, who is the chairman of the US Bishops' Committee on International Justice and Peace, decried the recent failure of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons Review Conference to reach a consensus on the issue. Bishop Malloy called upon all parties to recommit to dialogue towards the elimination of nuclear weapons. Finally, the head of Italy's Bishops' Conference is emphasising the need to prioritise the poor and avoid polemics in the forthcoming Italian general election. In an interview with the newspaper Corriere della Sera, Cardinal Matteo Zuppi of Bologna said the election is a crucial moment for the nation, which is still recovering from the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. He also said that political leaders must navigate the new challenges related to the war in Ukraine. Cardinal Zuppi added that one must never forget and never get used to suffering. He also noted that the various COVID-related lockdowns and travel curves have thrown thousands of Italians out of work in the tourism sector, with the number of people living in poverty now rising to approximately 6 million. And that's your latest headlines for now. Do join us for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for news updates. Shalom.